So our next panel will be highlighting some of the products from working with the cities through RAFT. And we will just jump right into the first one. Karen, are you ready to start?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Wonderful. So Karen Firehawk is the director of Green Infrastructure Center and a lecturer at UVA in the urban and environmental planning and landscape architecture. So please go ahead, Karen, when you're ready.
Okay, next slide, please. I'm going to go really fast. I'm going to summarize really a 2-hour presentation in 5 minutes, so please don't get whiplash. I'm going to talk about what the students did last semester, which was to look at the entire city of Petersburg through a green infrastructure lens. Next. I want to give credit where credit is due. So the Virginia Department of Forestry and the U.S. Forest Service provided some of the funding that allowed us extra money to do field trips and have much more involved engagement, as well as to bring a lot of additional GIS, geographic information system mapping to the project. But these are the students who did the major part of the work. Next. All right, so we divided the students into 4 teams: trees and habitats, water, recreation, and culture. And that's a picture of them tromping through the woods of Petersburg. Next. So we did a lot of work to map the entire land cover so we know what every square meter of Petersburg is covered by, including impervious surface, water, trees, and other vegetation. And we looked at a lot of the benefits that trees provide for stormwater runoff, improving air quality, making it cooler, helping community health, and also economic stability. So we provide a lot of statistics on how regreening the city can actually help its economy. Next. And we looked at the canopy. It's 47% for the city, which is really pretty great. But just keep in mind, that's kind of skewed a little bit by some of those large forest patches to the south. We've got really hot areas in parts of the downtown and some of the neighborhoods, which are hovering more around 10%. So we want to create tree equity in the city and make sure everyone has equal access to shade. Next. We also looked at household income and looked at whether areas that were very impervious also tended to be poor. And so these provide sort of neighborhoods of opportunity for us as we try to think about where should Petersburg focus future tree planting and greening and park efforts. Next. All right, moving on to water. Next. All right, so we also looked at a lot of the impervious surfaces, which have a huge impact on the quality of the city's water and also impacts whether the city suffers from flooding, which it certainly does. Petersburg has right on the fall line, so some of it's the granite bedrock, but some of it is the flat coastal plain, and so we actually have a lot of areas that simply don't drain well. And so trying to think about everything from the surface of our road materials to how they infiltrate to where the water's going and how can we reduce impervious surfaces over time. Next. All right, but there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of open spaces. This is by the Arts League, and they are planning to redesign this space. But there's a lot of little places like this, even in the downtown, where we can add more canopy because grass doesn't really absorb that much water. It's better than pavement, but it's not really good for cleaning the air or holding stormwater. Next. All right, and then we can look at all the different opportunities to decrease impervious surface, but then also replace it with stormwater treatment so we can clean the water as well as handle volume. Next. All right, moving on to parks and recreation next. All right, so we looked a lot at the factors that make a city healthy. And unfortunately, when we look at Petersburg, it falls to the bottom for a lot of the metrics that look at health in terms of obesity, prevalence of diabetes, unemployment, the median household income is low, and the poverty rate is high. And so if we want to create a healthy city and a vibrant city and attract more jobs and business to Petersburg, it's really important that we make the city green. Parks have a huge impact on driving economic development. Next. Next. Okay, so we looked at where all the parks are, and we looked at the types of parks and what they provide. We also looked at where the parks are not. So we did sort of a deficit analysis, looking at which areas of the city need more park space or places to recreate. Next. And so we want to make sure, ultimately, our goal is that every resident in the city has access to a park within a 10-minute walk. And that's a goal, of course, within the comprehensive plan. But realizing that goal requires looking at all the opportunities for putting green space in. So we've done a lot of that analysis for the city. Next. So we've got ideas for where proposed parks could be in the future. Next. And so some of the summary and takeaways, we want to have a robust connected park network because it does provide economic benefits, but most importantly, it improves residents' health and well-being, both mental and physical. There's a lot of data showing that. Next. All right, we also looked at culture and history, which are integral to Petersburg and an amazing part of its story. Next. And we looked at a need to have cohesive branding for tourism. The tourism center isn't open anymore. We need wayfinding signage to bring people around to show them all the amazing resources, and a website. So the students even came up with sort of a template for a new website. And then we want to make it shady and cool so that people want to stay downtown and also explore the more outer limits of the historic and cultural resources. Next. And then a lot of different opportunities for bringing public art into the picture. So I love tourism projects because it's a great way to blend greening a city with also bringing its history to life. Next. So they came up with this cool app where we could put all the sites, because most people, maybe not me, but most people use apps to get around and tell them what fun things to do in cities. So we want to bring Petersburg into the 21st century. Next. All right, so next, the next steps. Petersburg's considering how to include some of the options in city plans and policies. The students' report is free and available for download. Sierra has sent everyone the links and can again. We're also assisting through my nonprofit with drafting an improved tree protection ordinance. And now UVA students are working on 4 sites to try to think of how we can provide green space in the city and reduce stormwater. So my site design class is going on now, and they'll have their final products to Petersburg probably in about 3 weeks. And then Petersburg's applied to be adopted to create a tree care and planting plan and canopy goal, as Naomi just mentioned. So once these partnerships get started and rolling, it's almost like there's no end to the possibilities. We're also going to be working hard with Petersburg to help them link these ideas to real funding opportunities. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our next presenter is Kun Shi, an assistant professor at Old Dominion University's Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. Kun, are you ready to present?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, could you go to the next one? All right. Yeah. So, hello everyone. This is Quinn from ODU, and our RAFT project aims to develop an AI-powered system to map pedestrian facilities, and pedestrian facility defined as one of the fundamental data units that are required by the federal government, and also it's provide critical information to facilitate the decision making in terms of transportation management and planning. For example, if you want to identify the community with like low walkability, and you do need the pedestrian facility data, right? And that can help us to decide like what kind of measures should be developed next. Yeah, could you go next one? All right. So the input for our system are the last one, please. Yeah. Yeah. So the input data for our system is the satellite image data, and which is open free to the public. So we have trained the computer vision models. Basically, teach AI. This is sidewalk. This is crosswalk. Or this is footpath, right? We label all those pedestrian facilities, train the AI models, and eventually the AI are able to automatically detect those facilities from the satellite image without our input. So the output from this system will be the GIS shapefile. Those are geo-referenced polygon and also the centerline network. Next, please. So in terms of methodology we use, I would like to use the ODU as a campus as an example. So the first step is to extract the area image data from the Google Maps, or you can use other open source satellite image data. So this is the first step to capture the aerial image data. Next. So the second step is to utilize the divide and conquer approach. So we split the satellite image data into multiple tiles. And the next one, the step 3, is to train the AI models, and also eventually AI models are able to detect the sidewalks, crosswalks, or footpaths from each of the tile. So you can see the red color indicate the crosswalk, and the blue ones indicate the sidewalk or the footpaths. Next one. Then we stitch the tiles and put the results together. Next is to map the pedestrian facility to the geographic system. So we have the geo-referenced polygon and also the centerline network. So this is the results shows you the pedestrian facility for the ODU campus. Next. So we also run the AI system for the cities of Hopewell and Petersburg. We have generated a shapefile for those cities, and we have shared that with the relevant teams. So as a proof of concept, we have proved that our system are able to be run on a citywide scale, on a large scale, and they are able to capture some of the facility data, right? The results can be further enhanced if we fine-tune our models as what we did for the ODU campus, because this is a very different context. So some of the knowledge failed to transfer to those two cities, but that can be further enhanced if we have more training data, if we further fine-tune our AI models. Next, please. So here are some good examples. You can see that we are able to distinguish the roadway from the sidewalk, and also we are able to detect the crosswalk, etc. Next. And there are some bad examples as well. As you can see, the AI models fail to capture some part of the pedestrian facilities. And the sidewalks are not continuous and detected. So for the next steps, the AI models and also the results can be further enhanced. So if we have better area image data, or if we have labeled more data for training, and another idea is to utilize additional input data such as the OpenStreetMap data that can also be running, that are also available for on a large scale. And for sure, we can also have a better AI models, right? And those data will be very useful to evaluate the pedestrian facility, the accessibility of the pedestrian facility on a large scale. So my work, I have broad research interest lying at the intersection of the AI or transportation. So in the past, it's my great pleasure to be part of the RAFT, and RAFT provide a great platform for me to connect with other teams and stakeholders, and to build the collaboration and also create synergy. And it's my great pleasure to be part of it. So if you, in the future, if you have any transportation related problem and you believe AI can be a potential solution, feel free to reach out. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.